Over the past 15, 20 years, we're seeing the effects of our own actions in real time. People ask me this all the time, what can I do? Everything you see, from cell phones that we're glued to the skyscrapers that we build, all have impact. And every profession has to take a step back and think, what is my influence and what is my impact in all this as well?
Sustainability is no longer enough because sustainability means that we are not progressing and we are staying at the same state. It means we need to regenerate. Currently, we are consuming almost double on what we regenerate.
So it's not enough just to take, make, and waste. We have to actually take, replenish, build, and then restore. I first got my start in sustainability in scouting. Being conservation-minded was always top of mind for me. And when I got into project management, I saw that there was a lot of opportunity to reduce waste. A purchasing director brought us a big hand cart full of binders. This is the response to a project request. And I said, well, can't you just use a PDF? And he goes, this is how we've always done it. And I said, well, that's wasteful. And I thought, it was like an aha moment. I went, wait a minute. If all of us worldwide made a small change, that's a massive change on a global scale.
GPM is a very unique organization. We are having a very supportive global alliance, especially in project management community globally, and also our regional partner, and they also provide some input on how we can progress together.
You know, it's really interesting to us how we've been able to impact organizations around the world. We believe putting tools in the hands of people that can put them into practice is why we exist. The biggest challenge in commonality of approach is being able to connect the dots, meaning how does my work impact sustainability on a global scale? And so when you can't make that connection, it's hard to figure out, what do we do? And so we need to dial it back and say, what does this mean to me? And what does this mean to my profession? The first organization that came to us was a helicopter company. And it was the sustainability manager for the company. She'd just been hired. She said, can you help my project managers understand what I'm talking about? And we said, we can do both. We can teach you their side and we can teach them your side. She goes, they sound like dolphins when they speak because I don't speak the same language. So we went in and we taught them all sustainability so they could understand her concept from her perspective and taught her project management. And that's where it sort of melded together for them. And it created a lot of benefit. We have a unique approach to project management. And we have a standard that looks at the impact of our work. We look at the total asset lifecycle of a product. And we look at the impacts of everything from the project lifecycle to the end of useful life. And we look at the impacts from over 250 different aspects to figure out, is there a better way to ensure that there's a positive impact while reducing the negative? And we do this at each phase of the project. And we do so using 49 different sustainability elements and go far beyond the UN SDGs. We look at everything from GHG emissions to human rights to business case analysis. And what that allows us to do is determine the total impact of a project and the project work on the environment, society, and the economy. We arm the project manager, the project team with the tools to look at every scenario. And so by doing so, they're able to create enough information to provide information to the executives so they can say, oh, this is the right thing to do. Oh, this is the impact? I hadn't thought about that. It's not enough to say, well, we can't afford to do the right thing. It's always time to do the right thing. Project management typically focuses on three things: time, cost, and scope. And sustainable project management, meaning to go beyond that, looking at the benefits and the impacts of our work. And so to sustain literally means to stay as is. To regenerate means to go beyond and actually replenish and restore what was lost. We have several things we do with organizations, and some want to figure out how do we achieve net zero and how do our projects align to that. Some want to understand what's the impact of my project and how can I make it better. Some of them want to upskill their staff or upskill a local region saying, hey, we're building this mega project in this area, how can we create more value? And so we take each situation a little bit differently, and it allows us to create a more sustainable process of management and also the outcome as well. GPM engages with several types of organizations. That's why we're filming here in Malaysia this week. And there's a lot of focus on moving towards renewables and trying to figure out how we can lower our carbon footprint. So that's a very positive sign.
Asia Pacific is actually contribute a lot to the global economy. And climate change has bring flood especially, and also drought also. And it's already impacted a lot of businesses. It impacted workers. So all of these issues actually disrupt a lot of economy activities, and it kind of delay the progress of economic development also and investment in Southeast Asia.
My partnership with GPM commenced in 2013. We found the approach revolutionary at that point in time. Environmental, social and governance, it's a big speak at this point in time. Having the relationship with GPM is insurance. GPM are disciples of the dictum advocating fair play. So within their assessment frameworks, they assess the organization, and then you take a look in the mirror and you know exactly where you are, and then have the remedial actions and steps to improve. We currently have two clients that we introduce in the GPM concept. So the one is a exclusive drilling machine in open cast mining. And what the organization has done is the life of the equipment, when the machine is not operational anymore and it's run its life, the components of that machine can be used in farming equipment. Our other client is setting up data centers for telecommunications companies. And their data centers are designed around creating education centers for children post the call center stage. And then three other mining clients of ours, and one of them being the second largest gold mining company in the world. Their feasibility study framework guidelines have just been rewritten within the framework of GPM. So we injected that framework into the feasibility study guidelines that are now being mandated within the organization globally. When we look at sustainability and regenerative practices within any organization, it starts with the strategic intent of the business. The strategic intent must state that, because that's how the organization's going to align its operations, its projects, and everything that it does. So anything that transpires within the organization to meet the strategic intent needs to be prioritized within the frameworks. What we are finding is that intense scrutiny on projects and operational work is founded on the ESG fundamentals and the GPM fundamentals. And feasibility studies, business plans, business cases are now founded on those aspects. If we look 20 years ago, sustainability and reputation was a one-liner in feasibility studies. Today, it most probably comprises of 30 to 40% of the volume of feasibility studies. What we've seen as well is the drive within organizations to educate their employees. With a lot of the standards that are out there, executives, directors, shareholders realize that it's the ticket to the game. Understanding that the future is sustainability, is the environmental, social governance, the CSIR initiatives, and aligning that with our clients. So we are going to preach the gospel to our clients. Then only can you go into a client and advocate the message. For us to engage with our clients, GPM was the answer. A great team that supports us, they listen. They listen. So a lot of the initiatives and products and services that we've created internally within our organization has got the blessing from the GPM team. They helped us create them. And that is profound. That is really progressive as an organization.
I am hopeful. That's why we keep doing what we're doing. We have to realize that we don't control nature, we're part of nature. And until we come to that realization as humanity, it's not going to change. The impact of our work can't be understated. Corporations span borders, and it is extremely important that project managers out there, they realize that they have the ability to make a change. And that's why it's so important that projects be placed in the forefront. And if they adopt a few sustainable practices, we can enact great change and do it almost overnight.